Today we are going to be unboxing and setting up the Click and Grow 25. Now it is important to know that they do have Click and Grow smart gardens as small as 3. That's 3 pods or 3 seedlings that you can see here. So this one has 25 and they come in these sets of 5 and you can grow them sort of 1 week at a time, if you will. And over time, basically you'll harvest a set of 5 and at the same time that you're planting another set of 5, and they kind of are in a continuous harvest by setting up this method. So that's what we love about this Click and Grow 25. We also chose the white option, but you can also select a dark option. So the top parts that the light section that's on ours is going to be white. You can have one that basically kind of looks black. I guess it's not exactly black because they didn't name it that. They called it the dark model. But here you can see the different sets of pods. So again, this is basically a pull-out drawer that I'm lifting out now. And you can see that it has sets of 5 all the way across it. And you will plant one set of 5. And then a week later, you'll plant your second set of 5. And a week later, you'll plant your third set of 5, and so on and so forth. And like I said, by the end of that 5th week, then the pod on the end will have grown to full harvest, while the other ones are just beginning the seedling germination phase. And so it's this continuous harvest setting that we really enjoy. You can see the beautiful colors of the wood. The wood will be the same color regardless of whether you get the white option or the dark option. So in order to start assembling this Click and Grow 25, you're first going to want to get the base set up opposite from the light. So this is basically set on its backside. And then we're going to open up the screws and get these side legs attached to where these bolts attach. So once all 4 of those are attached, we'll move on to the next step. Now, one thing you'll notice that later on in the video is there's another piece that you can actually put a little rubber foot, a little rubber piece that you can stick on the bottom of the legs here. And I forgot to put those on now, so I had to end up doing it later. So save yourself a little bit of trouble. Go ahead and put those little rubber feet on now on the bottom of each of these things. And again, I just lifted it up and I'm just going back through to make sure all the bolts are nice and tight. And that way everything is secure to hold up the Click and Grow 25. Once you have this all assembled, the frame, you're going to just go ahead and stick the basin back in with the 25 pods. And then here you can see this drawer pulls out. And so when you're actually trying to harvest your plants, being able to pull the drawer out makes it a lot easier. And then they have these plexiglass type of edges. And so this, again, just helps the plants grow up instead of out, if you will, as they're growing. When they start to get ready to harvest, they can become pretty wide, and you don't want them just sticking out the side necessarily. So they give you these little clear walls, if you will, to kind of keep the plants contained and inside. So they come with these nice protective films so that they don't get scratched in transit, and then they are nice and clear and see-through, so your plants still shine through, looking very beautiful as they grow. So here you can see the actual cardboard sort of instructions, the quick guide, if you will, on these steps that I just went through. This comes with the Click and Go. It's right on top. But as you notice here, in the actual manual is where they tell you to put these adhesive pads on the bottom of each leg. Now, they do say it's optional if stacking units, and we'll get to that because we did actually purchase 2. So you'll see our second one here in a bit. You won't put the adhesive pieces on the bottom of the second or third tier if you're stacking them, but you do put them on the bottom of the first one. So again, that's not in the quick guide, but that does show up in the actual instruction manual. So once we get that, we have to attach these little extra pieces. Now, you won't have to do this if you've only bought one. These extra things are to stack a second one on top, which again, we did purchase. So that's what those pieces are for. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Now, also these attachments here that you see I'm looking through right now, these are to attach the cords to plug in the lights. And at first I was a little bit confused, but it's actually because they give you 3 different cords to plug into the wall for different countries. And so they're not all the same attachment for the wall. So 2 of these cords, you just won't use at all. And then what I'm showing you now is a little cord keeper that you basically use adhesive to stick to the back of that corner leg, and it will keep the cords tight against the wood. So visually, it keeps everything looking nice and tight. But yeah, those other 2 pieces of the cord, you're just not going to use. And I didn't realize that at first. And what you see me looking at now is actually removing the pieces for what will help us keep track of the water level. Because again, this stuff connects via Bluetooth to your phone, to an app, so you can manage and monitor everything. And then also it'll flash at you when the water level gets low. So that little piece that I took out there is where the water level, basically a buoy kind of thing that lifts up with the water when it's high. And then when the water level gets low, it'll start to flash at you and let you know to put more water in it. And this is, you can see it flashing at me right now. And so it's trying to tell me how to connect it to the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. And for setting up the app and getting the Bluetooth connected and all that, it's easy to follow the instructions that come with the actual Click and Grow 25 in the booklet. Now here again, you see that we have our second one. So it's set up right side by side, and we're going to have to stack it. So this is what you have to do. You don't want to do it with all the weight in it. So you're going to take off the actual drawer part of it, and so that whole thing will just slide off and come out that way. It's easier, it's lighter, and also you'll get better access to the points where you're going to have to put a few tiny screws in to attach to these extra little pieces, these little feet, if you will, that are going to stick on the side and screw into the metal frame, and that's how it's actually going to support. So it's not supported by the wood. It's supported the metal frame, the top, the light part of the bottom one is going to connect to the bottom of the metal drawer part on the top one. So the wood is really just for looks at that point on the top one holding the lights on, but the actual attachment between the two units is going to be through the metal framing. So that's nice too, keeps everything nice and sturdy. And again, they have little screws that you're going to attach, and some of the little sections are kind of hard to get into. I had a difficult time getting the right angle for some of these pieces, but it does all go together. Just might have to have a little bit of patience. In this case, needed a little bit of teamwork to get a couple of those screws in. So there's a little Ava with the roller skates visiting, checking out what we're doing. Once that's attached to the top, then you go ahead and put the drawer right back in. So slide the drawer in, and then you can add the basin into that as well. And so we actually have 50 plants that we can grow at a time as opposed to just 25. And you can actually stack 3 on top of each other. Now, it's important if you're going to stack these units to make sure they are properly secured to the wall, and I love these drywall anchors, so I will definitely put a link in the description to these. I use them for everything, probably more so overkill than I even need to, but for things like safety and stuff falling off the walls, I would rather be safe than sorry. So if it's overkill, so be it. Attach this little piece here to the top. I just dropped the Allen wrench behind the unit, and so I had to pull some things off the wall to get it back. But and then go ahead and put the drywall right in there next to where you've attached that little sort of wire hook. And once you get all that attached in there, then you can know for sure that your system is securely attached to the wall, won't topple over, won't hurt anybody. So again, don't skimp on safety. Make sure you attach it to the wall and keep everything secure. And once we finally get this attached to the wall, and again, the safety part of it is all done, then we move into trying to attach or connect all the Wi-Fi and make sure that we can actually control the unit. So there's a button on the top piece by the light. That's what we're doing right now. So you have to hold the button down in order to pair with your phone, with the app, so you'll log into your account and all that sort of stuff. Now, what's important or nice about being able to pair it is because you can put the types of plants that you're putting in the Click and Grow system into the app, and it will help you identify what they are as they're growing, but also know exactly when they're ready to go, help have maybe some recipes or things to attach them or to cook them in and all that sort of stuff. And again, it'll let you know on your phone if it needs to add water, but it'll also blink at you. So all these different steps are important and able to make sure that you're keeping your garden functioning well. So just pair it with your phone. You'll be able to control a light schedule, so you can set it to turn on or turn off at certain times during the day or the night. And again, there's a little setting on the side of the basin in the bottom that tells you a minimum and a maximum water level. So that'll also help you make sure that you're putting enough water in. And typically, if each week as you harvest one set of plants and put in another set of 5 to start germinating and start growing, if you just add water at that time, then you don't really have to refill it during the week. Just make sure that you fill it up initially, and then every week just fill it, keep it up to that maximum level, and it'll go down a little bit over time as the plants obviously drink up the water to grow. And one thing to be aware of is the number of blinking that you're looking at. And I know that might sound strange, but it blinks 3 times when it's not paired or connected to the Wi-Fi, to the app. It blinks twice when it's water. So you'll notice that it might be blinking at different times. We're trying to figure out why the water's not working, but it's actually not connected to the Wi-Fi. It takes a little bit of troubleshooting to figure out why it keeps blinking at us. But the other issue is when you have 2 units, you're connecting them both to the app. So you're supposed to connect the bottom one first, then connect the top one. And so you'll have both of these Click and Grow 25s as separate units inside your phone, inside the app. And as you can see here, I'm removing that top basin because we're trying to make sure that the issue is not the water level sensor. And so I'm just checking on the bottom. There's some batteries and things like that that are all related to keeping it all connected. And so I'm just double checking while we're trying to troubleshoot why everything keeps flashing at us, making sure that it's not something related to the water level sensor. So put that back in, put everything back in. We're pairing with the top unit. So again, this was probably one of the longest pieces of the puzzle, was just trying to get everything to pair and connect and be able to control it properly. But once you get that, it's pretty straightforward. You add the water, and then here you can see we bought a bulk set of all the pods because, again, we got a set of 50 to grow, and we wanted to make sure that we had enough. So each of those boxes, as you can see, comes with 9 pods. And the difference between this and our lettuce grow system that we have is that with this system, the nutrients are actually built into the pods that come, versus in the lettuce grow system, you can see to the left there in the shot, is that you actually add nutrients to the water. And so you're constantly every week adding nutrients to the water. In these, you just add tap water. You don't have to add any nutrients to the water. You're not worrying about measuring the pH of the water because all the nutrients and stuff is built into the pods that come from Click and Grow. So it's a little bit more of a set it and forget it than the lettuce grow because you have to constantly be monitoring the pH level. I say constantly. We only do it once a week, but you're adding nutrients and you're checking the pH level of the water. And you don't have to do that with the Click and Grow system. So that's pretty cool. And so the first week, it tells you when they're germinating, you put those clear covers on them, and that helps them germinate and begin to grow. And then you'll remove that and shift everything over. And so you only put that cover on to kind of create some condensation that very first week while they're growing and are brand new plants. And as you can see, all the pods look the same when you're planting them. So it is helpful to put what type of plant into the app, and then the app will keep track of which plant in which location is which. In case you planted a few plants close to each other that might actually look similar, and you're not super great at telling the difference between all the plants you may have been planting, then this is a helpful way to get started. And here you can see the condensation already starting to form in that first week of germination. And once you would be done with that first week, you would go ahead and take this cover off, and you would move it over to the next one that you would put in fresh pods into. And you can see the little wicks on the bottom. That's how they get the water up into the plants. They seep through the wick. Here are those lights. Again, these sort of full spectrum lights, the outdoor lights that the plants need in order to grow. And as you can see here are our plants in the different stages of development over those 5 weeks. Please put any questions into the comments section and like and subscribe. And if you want to watch any of our other content, check it out here, and we will see you in the next one.